Hey guys, this is part one of the full season of Pretty Little Liars that we are currently watching, season 4, and I decided to split it up into episodes 1 through 6 for part 1 and then 7 through 11 for part 2. So let's get into part 1. So for episode 1, I'm only going to do, of course, the main points. So if it feels like I'm rushing, it is what it is. So they found a dead pig that was in the trunk of Wilden's car, and Mona, who is also with them, she takes the chip out of the police car that has the evidence that Hannah's mom hit Wilden. Mona confesses to a whole bunch of things in episode 1. Wilden is murdered. There were two Queen of Hearts. The girls discovered there were two Queen of Hearts. One of them was Wilden, and the other one was Melissa. Allison's mom has returned to Rosewood. Hannah's mom's phone was in Wilden's casket at the church, and there was a person at the funeral who was wearing all black, like black lace veil and all that jazz. A new officer is in town who is going to be working on the whole entire case. Mona goes to Hannah, and she gives her the chip from Wilden's police car, kind of as, I guess you could call it a peace offering. Not too sure. And Toby delivers the lair to A in order to get information on his mom's death and what really happened. Mona takes the girls to the lair because she can tell they're not really trusting her so much, but when they go to get the lair, or at least go to it, they discover that it's no longer there. Mona's in shock. She's like, where the heck is the RV? And we all know from the last episode, Toby is the one that took it. Emily messes up her shoulder after she saves Aria and Mona from basically almost getting run over by A. After she falls on a rock, she really messes up her shoulder. Spencer doesn't get into the University of Pennsylvania, which she's devastated over. Emily, she starts taking painkillers because, like I said, she messed up her shoulder, but unfortunately that caught up to her because while she was doing her swim race, she couldn't really tell the distance or tell where she was at because she was on too much medication. She suffers a head injury, and then she has to go to the hospital. Hannah's mom's muddy shoes, the ones that were really, really nice, they end up getting thrown out. Tippy is a bird that was roommates with Allison. And the bird talks and sounds just like Allison and is saying a lot of very, very interesting things. But Tippy, keeps on singing this song, which they find out later on is actually a phone number that Allison had been calling quite a lot. Aria is starting to take self-defense classes with this really cute guy named Jake, and they end up kissing, or at least she ends up planting a kiss on him. Mona finds out about the muddy shoe prints because she was listening in to what some police officers were saying, and apparently there was a woman's muddy shoe print in the area where Wilden was murdered. Toby ends up getting a transcript that's in connection to his mom. Hannah's mom tells Hannah basically that she did not kill Wilden. She pretty much just lays it on the line and says, I did not kill him. And then Tippy gets stolen at the end of the episode. Aria's mom has been given the opportunity to go to Austria with her boyfriend, and Aria spends most of this episode trying to convince her mom to go. Melissa comes back, and there's a possibility she may get an internship that'll send her someplace else other than Rosewood, obviously. And she tries to convince Spencer that both of them need to get out of town. Caleb's relationship with his dad is much better. Toby finds out that his mom jumped from a window at Radley, and when he and Spencer go to Radley, they realize that there's no way she could have physically thrown herself so far out because there's a ledge below the window where if she had jumped, the ledge would have pretty much broken her fall, if you get what I'm saying. Emily was offered pain medication from her doctor, but she refused. Then her mom finds out, goes to her pain medication, realizes there are pills missing, confronts Emily in front of the school. There's a bit of a slight physical little altercation. Somebody calls family services on them and the situation, and then you end up finding out that Emily's dad is going to be in the picture now because family services called him too. Let's see. Caleb goes to Hannah's dad in order to get help for Hannah and her mom, and then you find out that around the time he saw Hannah's mom, after that, his gun goes missing. He can't find his gun. Hannah goes to the police station and she notices that there's a board at the police station that has her picture, all the girls' pictures, and anyone who's connected to them. And they see Wilden, and the police are really trying to figure out what in the world is going on here. There's a mask that the girls find, and when they kind of pull the mask apart, they notice that it looks like Allie's face under the original mask, if you get what I'm saying. And they end up going to the person who made them, and in order for them to get information from him, Emily kind of has to, I don't want to call it pose, but she uses her face as a model. He makes a mold of her face. They get information from him. And then Spencer ends up finding a mold of Melissa's face. The gun that's missing is a .38. Officer Holbrook and Lieutenant Tanner are in the picture because they're pretty much trying to figure out why all these weird things seem to point back to these 4 girls. Wilden's safe deposit box has money, 2 passports, and a gun in it. Emily's doctor is the one who called Family Services, and you find out that Emily is going to need surgery on her shoulder in order for her to be able to swim again. Hannah tells Lieutenant Tanner about Melissa and her connection with Wilden. Toby finds Dr. Palmer and talks to him about his mom, and you find out that Dr. Palmer says, "Tell her to stay away from that girl." Toby says, "Well, what girl?" And he says, "That blonde girl." Melissa finds the mask of her face that Spencer hid in her suitcase, and then Melissa goes to Hector's studio, and she gets a bunch of masks of Allie's face, and she starts destroying them. Then she makes a big confession to Spencer. She says a couple of these things. These are just a few. Wilden is the one who tried to kill Spencer on the train. She's the one who sent Jenna and Shauna to spy on the girls at the lodge, and Wilden is the one who set fire to the lodge. And the last thing I want to mention for episode 4 is that Hannah mentions at the end of the episode that she thinks her mom is the one who killed Wilden. Melissa is now in London doing her internship. Spencer's mom hires an admissions coach for Spencer in order to try and help her get into college. Emily is stressing about college, and she ends up kind of meeting Spencer's admissions coach, and then all 3 of them end up going to Cicero College in order for them to find out about the phone number, because the phone number that Tippy was singing actually matches up to a number near Cicero College. It's on Greek Row, and then they go to a sorority house in order to figure out what's been going on. Then Spencer and Emily, they get into a big argument because Emily's actually there to actually try to get into college, and Spencer's just there pretty much to snoop. Aria's mom, she gets attacked by killer bees in her car. How A did that? Listen, we'll just never know. But I mean, obviously A put the bees in there. Y'all get what I'm saying. Let me see here. Spencer finds a secret room in the sorority house that has a phone in it that is the actual phone number that they've been looking for. Y'all get what I'm saying? So there's a secret room in the sorority house, and according to one of the sorority girls, their sorority mother, I call her Miss G, because I can't pronounce her name to save my life. She would disappear for hours at a time and then come up out of nowhere. So there's kind of a connection there. Maybe that's where she went, to that secret room in the house. Hannah, she ends up getting arrested because she finds a gun in her mom's closet. Her mom locked the closet, mind you. She finds the gun and then she tries to bury it, and the police catch her and they pretty much arrest her. We find out in this episode that there's a possibility that Hannah could be charged with a 3rd-degree felony because she has that gun on her. Her mom has no idea where that gun came from. She doesn't know why it was there. She just does not know. And Hannah's mom does end up getting arrested in this episode. The chip that Hannah gives Emily to try and give to the police is not the same one that Mona gave her. It's been switched out, and it has evidence on it that makes it seem as if Emily is guilty of something. Shauna is now at Rosewood, and she's now on the swim team. Mike's friend Connor starts a nasty rumor about Aria. And then Mike's car actually gets pretty much messed up. I mean, someone takes a bat to it, smashes the windows. Spencer finds and confronts Miss G, the sorority mother, but she acts like she has no idea, like, what Spencer's talking about.